All right, let's get into it. Today, we're putting on our detective hats. We're going to investigate a company called AdventureWorks. But here's the twist. We won't be talking to a single employee. Instead, we're going to dig through their sales database to see what secrets the data itself can tell us.
I mean, really think about that for a second. How much can you figure out about a company's inner workings just by looking at how they structure their information? It turns out a whole lot. A database is kind of like a digital blueprint of how a business thinks and operates, and we're about to take a guided tour. So, here's our game plan. We'll start with a big picture view of AdventureWorks, then zoom right into their sales data. From there, we'll peek inside the most important files or tables, and then, the fun part, we'll connect the dots and uncover some surprising stories hidden in the numbers. Then we'll step back and see what we've learned.
Okay, let's kick off our investigation from way up high, the 30,000-foot view. Before we get into any specific sales or customers, we need to understand the basic layout of the entire company's digital world.
And our very first clue is this number right here, 5. This tells us that the entire AdventureWorks business is organized into 5 major departments. In the data world, they call these schemas. You can think of it like the whole company is split into 5 giant digital file cabinets.
And here are the names on those 5 file cabinets: Human Resources, Person, Production, Purchasing, and the one we're going to focus on, Sales. This is the commercial heart of the company, right? It's where all the action happens, and that's where we're going to point our magnifying glass.
So, we're zooming in now, moving from the whole company down into just that sales department. Let's see what the blueprint of their commercial hub actually looks like.
And inside that one sales cabinet, we find 19 of these smaller folders or tables. 19. Each one is built to hold a very specific piece of the sales puzzle. That's a lot of detail they're tracking.
Now don't worry, we're not going to go through all 19, let's just focus on the big ones, the ones that tell the clearest story. And you can probably guess what they do just by their names, right? Customer, credit card, shopping cart. Together, these track the entire journey of a sale.
Okay, let's get even closer. We've gone from the company to the department to the list of files. Now we're actually going to open up a couple of these files and see what kind of information they're designed to hold.
Let's start with what's arguably the most important one, the sales order header. The easiest way to think about this is as the master receipt for every single purchase. It's the central hub that holds the who, when, and how much for every transaction.
Now check this out. This is a really cool clue about how data works. On the left, you've got the sales order number. Out of more than 31,000 orders, every single one has its own unique number. It's an identifier. But look to the right. The revision number column only has 2 possible values across all those thousands of orders. That means it's a category, probably something like original or revised. So just the shape of the data is already telling us a story.
Okay, this is where it gets really good. We've looked at the blueprints, the structure. Now it's time to look at the actual stuff inside, the values, the numbers, the text. This is where we go from understanding how the business is organized to uncovering what the business is actually doing.
So let's ask our first real business question. If we look inside that credit card table, can we figure out how people like to pay?
And whoa, the answer is pretty fascinating. There are 4 main card types, but look at how incredibly balanced the numbers are. There's no single dominant card, which is honestly a little strange. This is a real clue. It could mean their customers are really diverse, or maybe they have special deals with all 4 of these card companies. Either way, that's a cool insight into their market.
All right, time for a little mystery. We all know that when you order something, it goes through a few steps, right? It's placed, then it's processed, then it's shipped, and then it's complete. It's a whole process. But the data here is about to show us something very odd.
The next clue is just this number, 1. What in the world could that mean when you're looking at thousands and thousands of sales?
Well, it means that across all 31,465 orders in our dataset, the column that's supposed to track the order's status only has 1 single value in it. Every single order is marked with the exact same status.
This opens up some great questions, right? Is their system totally broken and every order is just stuck? Or, and this is probably more likely, does this particular set of data only include orders that have already been fully completed and shipped? The data doesn't just give us answers. Sometimes it gives us better questions to ask.
Okay, let's tackle another one. Can we spot any patterns in when people are buying stuff? Are there certain days where the sales team is just getting slammed? To figure that out, we'll look at the order date.
And the answer is a huge yes. Just look at these numbers. On a normal day, say June 5th, they get about 30 orders. But on June 30th, that number skyrockets to 232. Then you see it again on March 1st, a massive spike. These are not random. Something specific is happening on those days.
So what's the story here? Well, what happens on June 30th? It's the end of the second business quarter. Dates at the end of a month or a quarter are often when you see a huge push from the sales team to hit their targets. What we're likely seeing here is the digital echo of that real-world sales pressure.
Okay, let's zoom all the way back out. We've looked at the structure, we've dug into some of the numbers, and we've uncovered a few little stories. So after all our detective work, what have we actually learned about AdventureWorks?
Here's the final report. We learned that the business is super organized, split into those clean digital departments. They track every sale in incredible detail. We found out their customers have really diverse payment methods. We stumbled upon a cool mystery with that status column, and we saw a clear proof that their sales spikes line up perfectly with the business calendar. We figured all of that out without ever talking to a soul.
And honestly, we've only just scratched the surface. We didn't even look at what products sell best or where their biggest customers are. So I'll leave you with this. Every single dataset out there is like a library full of stories, just waiting for a curious detective to come along and start reading. What story would you try to find?